not your type.
You're overlooking one of the great things about me. I don't have a type.
She's over 30.
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're discussing some of the most egregious examples of the Tinseltown double standard.
But what about men? Like, who tells men when it's their last day?
The blame game. It's become almost like this perverse waiting game, the anticipation that occurs with any film that has incurred any sort of online controversy.
I at least have to try. Even if it is just a wish.
We collectively scan the reviews and online chatter about whether or not a movie with a ballooning budget flops, or if a flick that's perceived by some as woke underperforms at the box office.
I was thinking the same thing.
However, at which point do productions need to take responsibility for their poor scripts or substandard execution, and when is it a case of review bombers ruining a perfectly serviceable effort for the silver screen? Sometimes it's about historical double standards regarding gender, specifically how certain styles of movies are marketed.
Who are you, then?
Just the fly in the ointment, Hans. The monkey in the wrench. The pain in the ass.
The era of the 80s action movie was great, but we also no longer live in a commercial space where those kinds of hyper-masculine and occasionally jingoistic films get produced on the regular. So, if a female-fronted action movie like Furiosa or The Marvels fails, is it because the movie wasn't up to snuff, or do audiences genuinely not wish to see women be their action heroes?
There she is. The Annihilator herself.
It's over, Darben.
No, not yet.
It's important to note here that older generations also had plenty of iconic women who played the action game alongside their male counterparts. Actors and martial artists like Cynthia Rothrock in the 80s or Etsuko Shiomi in the 70s. These women and more prove that there is a market for female-led action movies, as long as the movies themselves are entertaining and engaging. Then again, neither Rothrock nor Shiomi were forced to battle online harassment or community-led tirades on review sites back in the day either. Fans from both sides love to point fingers at the end of the day whenever a movie they decided to champion that week succeeded or failed. This sort of toxic behavior doesn't do any good, and instead poisons what's already a very tribalistic cinephile community. LGBTQIA+ roles and casting. We live in a much more inclusive world today than we did when actors from the LGBTQIA+ communities first began making their voices heard in Hollywood.
Totally, that's fine.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Before this, it wasn't exactly uncommon for actors from outside of these spaces to win awards or accolades for portraying LGBTQIA+ characters. Movies such as Milk from 2008 saw Sean Penn portraying the first openly gay man to serve in California's public office. Elsewhere, both Heath Ledger and Jake Gyllenhaal's work on Brokeback Mountain was the subject of both critical praise as well as humorous jabs from comedians.
What are we gonna do now? Oh, Dad, there's nothing we can do.
Do actors from the other side of things receive the same opportunities, however? Or are LGBTQIA+ actors typecast and hamstrung into playing roles that lean into stereotypes?
You want to come over for dinner tonight?
I wish, but my dad wants to have like a capital F, capital D family dinner, which is weird because it's literally just me and him eating dinner together like every single night.
It's a valid question that's getting asked more every day, but also one that we might not need to ask forever. 2023's Evil Dead Rise, for example, included Morgan Davies within its cast, a trans actor who took on the role of Danny. Yet neither gender nor sexuality are mentioned within the film's actual story, normalizing the casting decision while also allowing for Davis's performance to speak for itself.
I don't like this, Dan. You need to put it back, right now.
Mom's not letting any of us out the front door again tonight.
First thing in the morning, then. Promise me?
This is a far cry from films such as Partners from 1982, which leaned heavily into gay stereotypes within its odd couple buddy cop dynamic. Still, although we may no longer be living during a time when this sort of screenplay would be considered a good idea, it's also important to note how the fight for continued and equal on-screen representation remains ongoing and valid.
What time you get off? I beg your pardon? I said, what time you get off work? 1 o'clock? I'll be waiting for you outside at 1. Okay? Okay.
Roles for aging actors. It's one of the oldest pitfalls for actors from every generation, but it falls particularly hard on female actors.
What?
Nothing. You stick out like a sore thumb around here.
Me? What about you?
I fit in better than you. At least I'm wearing cowboy boots.
Oh, yeah, you blend.
Specifically, how a performer might graduate from earning ingenue roles to girlfriend roles before finally enjoying those golden years portraying moms and grandmothers. This sort of career arc doesn't happen to every actor, of course, but there is a legitimate conversation to be had about ageism in Hollywood and how thankless many roles are for actors that reach a certain age.
Look around you. This is what we do. We help people.
This is what's best for them. Trust me.
Comedian Amy Schumer lampooned this idea brilliantly on her Comedy Central show Inside Amy Schumer alongside some famous friends.
Hi, are you lost? I'm sorry. I love all of you. I can't believe you're here. You're like literally my heroes.
The sight of Schumer, Tina Fey, Patricia Arquette, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus on this Tolkien-esque journey to the land where they're no longer seen as sexually desirable speaks to the battles many female actors are required to fight as they age. Sure, we all may know that there are no small parts, but we also know that Hollywood loves to cast hot people while they're at their hottest.
Well, is there anything you can do to delay it?
Yeah, I mean, you can try, but it only makes it worse. Like those Real Housewives. They try to look young, but then they end up looking like a purse that melted in a car accident.
Yeah.
They're also not required to cast them when that steam heat dissipates and floats away. There have been some actors who have managed to maintain relevance while continuing to deliver quality performances within their craft.
We're sorry, ma'am.
So am I. Harry had discovered me. He was going to put me in a movie he was making in Hong Kong.
Jessica Lange, for example, was cast as the gorgeous young starlet Dwan in the 1976 King Kong, but she was never defined by this role. Téa Leoni's career has certainly contained meatier roles than the one she had in Michael Bay's Bad Boys, and there's absolutely nobody who's going to argue against Meryl Streep as one of the all-time acting goats. Yet the latter had actually auditioned for the aforementioned King Kong role that eventually went to Jessica Lange. The reason why Streep didn't get that part? She was told that she was, quote, too ugly.
I walked in and his son was sitting there very excited that he'd brought in this new actress. And the father said to his son in Italian, because I understand Italian, he said, "Che brutta." You know, why do you bring me this ugly thing?
Whoa.
Yeah. Very sobering, you know, as a young girl.
Beauty standards versus Botox. Celebrities can usually be relied upon to say a lot of encouraging things to their fans, or to emphasize well-intentioned sentiments concerning individualism.
We aren't born with these insecurities. We are told to be insecure about certain things.
Be yourself. Love who you are. These are all great ideas, but it's easier said than done for most people. Additionally, not everybody wants to hear these sorts of sentiments from picture-perfect Hollywood stars. Those who just might have access to plenty of beauty regimens, personal trainers, and yes, Botox. It's a lot easier to take care of oneself when you have the financial means to do so, right?
It's important to protect your skin.
To be clear, we realize that for most, celebrity doesn't occur overnight. There's usually some sort of journey from the bottom to the top, and it's also painfully obvious when a certain actor has undergone some sort of procedure to alter their appearance. Fixing one's teeth is usually one of the first steps taken to this end, as an actor's life rises from minor parts to major roles.
Your smile is everything. It's the first thing people see when they talk to you. It gets you that better job, it gets you that better date, get better acting jobs.
We also, perhaps unfortunately, no longer live in the climate inhabited by former Hollywood A-listers. Actors such as Charles Bronson could still be considered major movie stars despite possessing real-looking faces that appeared carved out of granite. Elsewhere, many normal-looking performers are relegated to character status, with true leading roles never really winding up in the cards. So why should we hold our beauty standards to the inherent artifice of Hollywood? Maybe we'd be better off ignoring their beauty tips and actually treat being oneself as a true mantra, rather than mere lip service.
What a gorgeous little angel.
Role stereotyping. It's an ongoing and fluid struggle, as Hollywood's landscape of diversity and inclusion continues to adapt against criticism.
That's evidence of racial discrimination. Did you notice that our waitress was black?
And black women don't think in stereotypes?
Roles in the modern day are now being made available to a wider net of potential actors than ever before in Hollywood's history. Yet at the same time, a growing clamor remains prevalent within certain corners of the internet, and it's getting increasingly loud all the time. If an actor from a certain ethnic group takes on a certain role, is that actor then required to lean into cultural stereotypes, or should they course correct?
How are they different? They're Chinese, I'm Chinese. I'm so Chinese, I'm an economics professor with lactose intolerance.
Yeah, but you grew up here. 你看起来是华人，你讲的是中文，可是这里和这里 you're different.
What about if a stereotypical performance actually makes sense for the hypothetical actor in question? Would it then be disingenuous? It's the opinions from these affected groups that ultimately bring up questions of outrage or acceptance. Should an Asian actor portraying a Jedi in the Star Wars universe, for example, lean into those well-worn stereotypes of wise and sage teachers?
Connect to the Force. Have faith. Think of diving into a great ocean. Give yourselves over to its weight, its stillness, its uncertainty.
Or should Latin American actors give into their temptations to give passionate, fiery performances, even at the risk of alienating those who might see such performances as reductive or culturally insensitive? We realize that we're asking a lot of questions here, and there truly isn't a place where the answers come easy.
Are you okay? Yeah. Oh. I don't know.
There's a lot of pushback sometimes with regards to the validity of criticism in these spaces, particularly if said critic doesn't happen to come from a similar ethnic or socioeconomic background. It might all depend upon how seriously one takes cinema as an art form, and how much time that same person is willing to spend discussing the pros and cons of role stereotyping.
Since when is OCD a black thing?
Hey, please don't say a thing like that.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. On-screen age gaps for couples. This Hollywood double standard is perhaps the most obvious one discussed here today. It isn't solely the product of yesteryear either, since many modern movies still feature this confusing trope within their cast. Darren Aronofsky's Mother, for example, starred Jennifer Lawrence alongside Javier Bardem as a married couple.
Perfect. You didn't need to do all of this.
I wanted to.
This was despite an over 20-year age gap between the actors. The on-screen age gap for couples is one that usually, but not always, occurs in favor of the male actor within the production. This double standard could very easily be seen as a product of the male gaze, of a certain beauty standard being offered up as a counterpoint, or even a prize to a film's leading man.
Does it get easier?
No. Yes. It gets easier.
Oh, yeah?
It's nothing new either, since this idea of an aging man becoming distinguished while an aging woman simply becoming old has been with us as a society for decades. These age gaps are also not always mentioned within the film's creative narrative, at least when it comes to the men.
I have absolutely no reason to believe a word you've told me.
But you want to.
Granted, the image of a skirt-chasing Lothario does exist, one that definitely points out certain on-screen age gaps in a comedic way, or in a manner that shows the male protagonist as being emotionally immature. But the sight of a May-December Hollywood couple existing in the opposite direction is noticeably rarer, and is usually done to depict the female characters as retaining some kind of boy toy.
I hung out at Dave & Buster's near the Dance Dance Revolution game.
How did it go?
Great. I met Toshiro, a 19-year-old from the island of Japan.
How's that going?
He's smart, very focused in bed, and unfortunately looks better in my skinny jeans than I do.
Fictional Hollywood couples of today enjoy a much wider array of creative options for their characters, but it's important to remember how so many of these double standards are still very much in our recent rear view, and how we can hopefully learn from them, making the necessary changes in the future.
It just so happens, my dear, that women of a certain age don't date me. You ever think of it that way? No. It's always me.
What are some other double standards you see in either casting or creative storytelling? Let us know in the comments.
I know that this situation isn't ideal, but it is actually nice having people on board again.